Lonely Monk Productions.
Yo, That's My Jawn is brought to you by Liquid IV. Guys, it is festival season. And you know me, I love a festival. And the secret to enjoying a festival is to stay hydrated. Liquid IV has you covered while you prep before, power through to the headliner, and recover after the weekend. Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water alone with 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. Man, I love Liquid IV. It comes in a convenient packaging and it's tasty. When you see me at the Exponential Music Festival this fall, you know that I will have Liquid IV on me. And it comes in 12 delicious, refreshing flavors to keep your hydration routine exciting. All right, strawberry used to be my favorite, but they have this new one. It's strawberry lemonade and it is a banger. 1 stick of Liquid IV in 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. It's non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. Liquid IV believes that equitable access to clean and abundant water is the foundation of a healthier world. So Liquid IV partners with leading organizations for innovative solutions to help communities protect both their water and their futures. To date, Liquid IV has donated over 39 million servings in 50-plus countries around the world. Okay, and you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use the promo code YTMJ at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using the promo code YTMJ at liquidiv.com. Do it, and let's get our fests on. I don't know if y'all have heard Hot Don't Date a Musician by Dreamwife yet, but yo!
That's my Jawn! That's my Jawn! Hey yo, displace the guilt.
What's good, friends and family, neighbors near and far? Welcome to an all-new episode of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast. The podcast, website, brand, movement, way of life dedicated to the embrace and championing of your passions. I am your host, Nate Runkle, a.k.a. I thought about doing Jawn Musk here, but nah, fuck that guy, a.k.a. Nate 3.0, back at it again with yet another episode of the podcast. As always, I hope this podcast finds you all in good health and in good spirits. On today's episode, I chatted up with Dylyn Durante of the band UgLi. UgLi has just released a new EP entitled Girl Dick, which I just learned you can't say on the radio. And I learned that and so much more about Dylyn and the band coming up. But first, what is up, my friends? And I do consider you all my friends. It's officially summer, and y'all, it's hot, it's humid, and I hope you guys are all staying cool, especially if you're hitting up any outdoor shows. And speaking of outdoor shows, look at that segue. If you're looking to hear some great music and you have July 22nd free, be sure to check out the Sweet Juice Fest being held at the Rigby Mansion. They have an incredible lineup this year with Shamir, American Trappist, Brittany Ann Tromball, Samantha Rise, Koofnots and Christina Leese, and Sid and Devi. And they got some special performances by Rock to the Future, Eugene Ryder Herbetta, and the Sound Museum Collective. Sweet Juice Fest is a queer artist-led collective whose mission is to inspire community action and engagement through art, music, and joyful connection, engaging in practices that promote consensus, inclusivity, and belonging, with an emphasis on centering the voices of Black, Indigenous, people of color, queer, and gender-expansive artists and community members. Guys, it's a beautiful thing, and I hope you check it out. Tickets are available on their website at www.sweetjuicefest.com. And of course, if you're not on our mailing list, you are missing out. Short little updates about the show sent straight to your inbox. All the cool kids are on the mailing list, and you, my friend, I know you're cool, so you should join us. Visit www.yothat'smyjawn.com and sign on up. It's easy, it's free, and it will raise your social standing 35 points. You want some more cool points? Well, follow us on the socials at Yo That's My Jawn. We're everywhere. Well, okay, almost everywhere. I'm still trying to get that spill invite. So if you got one, send it my way. But yeah, all the rest, socials at Yo That's My Jawn. Give them a follow. Okay, we're going to take a short break and then come back with my interview with Dylyn Durante. But before we do, look, I get it. Ads, they're gross. I know. But we got to do it to keep the lights on. Matter of fact, full transparency, it ain't keeping the lights on, but you know what? It helps. That being said, I have heard you, and I know that the ad breaks the past 2 weeks went uncomfortably long. And for that, I'm sorry. So we're going to do this. One ad at the open, one ad here, and that's it. Cool? Okay. One ad, and then my chat with Dylyn Durante. My guest today is the front woman of the band UgLi. Recently, the band released the EP Girl Dick, a 5-song guitar-driven force of nature built on the foundation that the band showcased on their debut album, Fuck. UgLi will be performing on July 15th at Ortlieb's alongside Waxjaw. Folks, it is my honor to welcome to the show, Dylyn Durante. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined today by the great Dylyn Durante. Thank you for joining me today on Yo That's My Jawn.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm absolutely in love with the new EP. It's absolutely phenomenal. And then just today, I got a chance to watch the key studio sessions that you guys recorded with WXPN. And oh my God, does it translate so well live?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It felt really cool to like be in XPN and like it was a really interesting experience.
Yeah, and they seem like fans over there too, because like even in the write-ups they give you guys are you can tell their enthusiasm for your music as much as the way that I feel enthusiasm about your music.
Oh yeah, Jawn and Paige are really, really sweet. They have like, I feel like they've been like writing about us for like 2 years now. They've been like very, very much along during the journey and always have the kindest words to say. And they're just very sweet people in general. So I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, they're excellent over there. So I always like to start these things off taking it into the Wayback Machine and going back to being a little kid. When you were a little kid, like where were you growing up and what kind of music was playing around the house?
I grew up like in South Jersey and kind of just like in and around the city pretty much like most of my life. I'd say like a majority of my childhood was in South Jersey. As far as music goes, like all sorts of shit, really. I have like this like distinct memory as a kid of being like driving around with my dad, when I was maybe like 8, and like the two things that he would play was like the uncensored version of Dr. Dre's The Chronic, and then also like I want to say like a Black Sabbath album, and I always felt like it was a very goofy dichotomy. And that, I don't know, for whatever reason, that's like a memory that pops up about being like young yeah.
That's awesome. Were you into music your whole life? Like, was it always a passion for you?
I think so. I've always really, really loved music. It always felt really important to me. I know I want to say like my grandmom told me when I was like really, really little, I used to always get really excited to sing Happy Birthday, and I would try to sing it before I like knew how to like speak well, and it would kind of just like come out as like gibberish with like the cadence. But yeah, I've always loved music and always like had it in my life in some capacity or another, even if I wasn't like making it or like playing instruments or anything. I think it was just always like a really important aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you start with guitar as an instrument, or?
I did, yeah.
What age?
Whatever age, like I think like 6th grade, maybe. Like I got like a little guitar, and just kind of like I had like one guitar lesson, like literally just one. And I didn't really learn anything. Uh I think, yeah, so like I had like this guitar, and I'd kind of just like go on the internet and like look up like random tabs and just that, or just like lock myself in my room and kind of just like sit with it until I like figured stuff out. I feel like it was like there's definitely like a big component of like around that age of it like being like a hyper fixation of just like spending like multiple and multiple hours in my room just trying to like figure out how it works and like stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm very much similar to how I started. Like, I never took lessons, but just surrounding myself with tab and stuff like that, and just playing until, my fingers were all raw and just nonstop. Can you remember the first song that you tried to play?
Honestly, no,
No,
I
yeah.
don't. Yeah, because they were like, I think like a lot of the songs that I was looking up were just like very simple, like 3-chord songs. And I remember most of them were songs I had like not heard of before. Like they were just like old, like 70s and 60s rock songs because they were just really easy. But like, yeah, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Were you when you were kind of playing guitar and teaching yourself, were you writing stuff at that time, or were you just trying to play other people's stuff?
I think I definitely just like tried to learn how to play. There was a point in my younger childhood that I like wrote maybe like a couple little songs. Like I do have like this distinct memory. I feel like there was like a bunch of my friends and we like started a band or whatever. It lasted like maybe like a month or two, and like we didn't ever do anything. And I think we wrote like something silly, but I think that was pretty much it. I don't think I like actually legitimately wrote anything until I was at least like, I don't know, somewhere between like 17 and 19 probably.
What kind of music were you attracted to at that time? Like
I don't know, like all sorts of stuff really. I listened to like a lot of, I don't know, anything from like whatever was like playing on the radio in like the mid 2000s to like a lot of like older shit through like the lens of like my dad or like other people's parents. Definitely some like pop punk and like emo shit sprinkled in there, and like yeah, like really whatever just kind of like felt good on my brain.
yeah.
I really just love consuming music and like I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like at that time, how much like in those years, like how much wildly eclectic stuff was like on the radio, and like now I feel like it all kind of bleeds together at times and stuff like that. But like the 2000s was kind of like the last ditch of like just truly like next song could be something that sounds completely different than the one that played before it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely have like a lot of memories of like radio and like CDs, being like a little kid with my mom and stuff before like streaming like really took over.
Yeah. So you used to put on DIY shows. Like how did that kind of start? How did the idea of like let me put something together kind of enter your brain?
So that was really my friend Johnny's like brain project. Johnny and his brother Casey are like two people that I grew up with for a really long time. And they had a house in Pennsauken, and I don't even remember how it like actually started. I think they just like randomly threw a show there one time, and then it was cool. And then they kind of were just like, yeah, like maybe we could like start like a little house venue in Jersey, because like there wasn't really like a lot, like you always had to go to the city. And maybe before my time, because Johnny's like a little bit older, he had talked about like how there used to be like lots of like venues and stuff like across the bridge, and like stuff going on, and that had kind of just like died off at some point, like whenever. But it was a really fun time of my life. Like it lasted a couple years, and there's a lot of different bands that came through, and I think it was like there was like about five of us that kind of like collectively ran and managed the space together.
What type of bands were coming through? Like, what style of music were they primarily?
I think there's definitely like a lot of punk bands, for sure, but I don't think that was like it. I mean, there was all sorts of shit that happened. Like we had stand-up comedy nights a couple times. Like we had some like hip hop shows. We had some like mathcore types of bands come through. I know at one point there was like a touring band from Canada that came through. There was this band, I forget. This band came through one time. I think it's the Estrogens. But they were going by a different name at the time. And they were literally like, God, they were like 14 years old. And I don't think they like told us that. I think they had like told us they were young. And we are like, oh yeah, like it's cool or whatever. And like, their parents came and shit. Like it was like a whole thing. But yeah, it was just like a really cool space. And like a lot of our friends would come through a lot. And it like kind of picked up like a lot of traction, especially for being like a shitty DIY basement venue in like Pennsauken, like literally in between two highways. The fucking Philadelphia Inquirer like wrote an article about us, which was kind of goofy. But that was fun, you know. There's a lot of really good times I had in that place. And then yeah, I mean, there was also like kind of like where my band was like born out of, because I had never really been like in a band like that. And I think just like going to a lot of shows at that point in my life, and then we started doing that, like really like gave me an itch to like want to do it too. And then that's literally like how I met my drummer. Is like my drummer was in a different band. And he came there to play a show or whatever. And I was like illegally bartending at this place. And he like came up and like put a bunch of money in the tip jar, and it had like said something about like trying to save money for like music equipment to like start a band. And then he like asked me about it. And we like started jamming or whatever, like fall of 20, or no, like spring of 2018, maybe, I think. And then like I think our first ever show was there, like that following September, which was really cool. And that's like where we practiced at, because like it, you know, like I like basically lived there at that point. And like my ex at the time, while we were still together, was like living there. So like I was like there all the time, and like I grew up with both Casey and Johnny and like their parents and everything. So it was just like very much like a kind of like all in one kind of space for me for like a couple years.
Yeah. So did you come into that with songs already written, or when you got together with the drummer, did you start writing together?
I think it was like a little bit of both. I remember the two friends, the brothers that ran it, were like the original guitarist and bassist of the band. And basically like I remember like pitching it to them, and I was kind of like, I'm trying to start a band. And I've been like kind of writing some songs. And I just like want some people to play with. Like y'all don't have to like necessarily be in the band, but if you would be down to like, you know, like kind of like translate the shit with me, that would be really cool. So like I had like some stuff written, and I think like some of the songs were like old, from like being like, you know, like 19 or whatever. I think like most of those like never actually made it into anything. But then once my drummer joined, we like kind of got into stuff, and just started like writing a lot more and everything.
The did the kind of connection feel natural immediately between you and your drummer? I mean, you guys are still going strong, right?
Yeah, no, I love Teddy.
Yeah.
Like aside from being my drummer, we're very, very, very close. He's definitely one of my closest friends. Yeah, actually, the irony is that the first time we ever played together, I was dealing with like really severe, like I got diagnosed with panic disorder that year. And it had gotten like pretty wildly out of control. Like I was having like multiple, like very high severity, like panic attacks, like a day. And the first time that he ever came over to like meet up and like jam or whatever, like I was like in the midst of like having an anxiety attack, and I was like really embarrassed, and I was like, this dude's gonna come over and like never want to like talk to me or like being this band again. And then I like had a prescription for like benzos for like when my panic attacks got real bad, but I didn't like to take them a lot because like I would get kind of fucked up. And I ended up taking one. So like the first time that he came over and jammed, like that's like kind of how we wrote the one song Ativan on like our like demo EP. Because I was literally like fried as fuck on an Ativan after having a panic attack and couldn't really like speak or say a lot of words, and was kind of just like moaning and whining and like playing two chords just to kind of get a feel. Yeah.
The with the did you ever, so I only asked this because it happened to me before, and it was one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had. But have you with that ever had a panic attack during a live show?
Yes, I definitely have, actually. Like not in the middle of a set. My anxiety has been like drastically diminished for the most part. Like some phases of my life it acts up more, others it doesn't. One of my biggest stressors that I've noticed is if I'm like not taking care of myself, like if I'm not getting a lot of sleep and I'm not like eating well, and if I'm like just generally stressed out and I'm like smoking a lot of cigarettes, like that will definitely lead me to having more. And the one that I can think of is like this one time it was like our last show from tour last year, and it was like at this place in Jersey, like the middle, like Mays Landing or something, and it was like literally like the last show we had on the docket for like the whole tour. So like I hadn't rested well in what had been like literal weeks. Like we'd played like 20 shows within the last month. Like I'd been everywhere from like Wisconsin to like New Orleans and Florida and like everywhere up and down in between. And I was like on no sleep and like just weeks of deteriorating from the road and like, dealing with like a tooth infection on top of all of that. And I had like severe panic attack. I thought I was gonna have to like call like an ambulance. Like I thought I was like passing out. And it was just like that bad that I was like, I was like with like my band and like a couple of friends and like my partner at the time, and I was just like, yeah, I was like, I feel like I'm gonna like pass out and like I can't breathe and all this shit. And then we like had to like push our set back a little bit, and then eventually it was fine, and I like got up on stage and was like okay. But it was kind of embarrassing, especially because like I just like my eyes were like bulging and I'm like walking around this like venue and like just kind of looking like distraught. And I didn't like that we had like had to like have accommodations and like cut our set short on top of it, and it just felt like very but I felt like that was also like my body's way of like telling me that like I needed to rest, because I had like literally not rested well in like a month straight. And it was the last show, so like I remember like literally like right after performing, me and my drummer drove back to his house and like ordered a pizza and like turned the lights off in his living room and just like watched movies and ate pizza and just chilled, because I was just like so spent from like that whole ordeal. But yeah, it wasn't fun. Definitely not.
No.
No, it was weird.
That I have panic and anxiety attacks. I haven't in a long time, and I should probably knock on wood. But I had one on stage mid song, and I finished the song, and then literally thought I was going to have a heart attack, die, and everything right there. And I was like, well, if I go out, at least I went out on stage. But luckily, the venue was cool with me taking just a small break. I took a break, I went in the back room, and I ate the most amount of combos I've ever eaten in my life, and they were the best combos I've ever had, I think.
Yeah, panic attacks suck. Like I feel like anybody that's like never had them, like you don't realize like how physical it actually is. Like it's less about like your head freaking out, because like that's when I got diagnosed with the panic disorder, I think that was like the most frustrating thing, because it was like psychologically, like I know that I would be okay, and I'd be like, yeah, like nothing's about to happen, but but like physically, yeah, like your breath gets really shoddy and you can feel your like eyes rolling back and your heart is like 200 plus like beats per minute. And it literally feels like you're having like a heart attack and you can't really talk yourself out of it. You can just be like reminding yourself like, okay, like it's going to fade and then I'm going to feel fine or whatever. But like at the time, like, you know, and then you start to spiral and you're like, damn, like, what if this actually is the end? Like, what if like, because my body is reacting in this way that feels like not normal, or whatever. And yeah, it sucks. And they're terrible.
Yeah, the brain is a tricky thing there, and not so fun. So you guys did the first EP. Where did you record that at?
We literally recorded that at the venue space. Like same thing, kind of like DIY. My friend Nick May like recorded everything and like set everything up. Like, and it was basically just like a demo kind of vibe because we didn't have any music out and like we'd only played like a couple shows, so we were like we should like at least have something out. And yeah, we did it in like literally like a day. Like I think it was my birthday, if I'm not mistaken. Like I'm pretty sure my birthday of whatever year that was, like 2019, we just like sat in the basement for like 12 hours and just recorded through like a 4-song. Like we didn't even play to a click. Like we just kind of like just threw it together and then that was that. Sometimes I like forget that it actually exists too, because like it really wasn't much. It was just like something for people to like cling on to, at least until we like started recording the album and everything.
Yeah. So so leading into the first album, the beautifully titled "Fuck." It sets me up to ask one question, and it's thematic through not just the name of the band, not just the name of the first album, but the recent EP. My question is capitalization and lowercase. You are very free with, and it's something that I appreciate because when I used to perform, I used to be a all lowercase Nate, and with punctuation and stuff like that. Is there anything behind the way that you use capitals and lowercases and periods, other than just it looks cool?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely like some stuff. Like I don't know how exactly deep it is. I know for me specifically with like the new EP, like having the period felt important because it made it feel more like a statement. Where it's like, no, like this is like it's like a word and a statement and like the end, like period, you know? But yeah, I don't know. I feel like capitalization in a lot of ways like emphasizes things. You know, and can be like underutilized sometimes. Where like I feel like fuck in all caps hits a lot different than like fuck in lowercase, or then like fuck with just like a capital F. Like they all kind of like have their own distinct like unspoken meanings, even if we don't really think about it, you know. And I think it's just like a fun way to kind of like play around with stuff and like gives you like an ability to like more like thematic structure to like other titles and things like that.
Definitely. Did titling it "Fuck" present any problems getting it listed, like streaming or anything like that?
Oh, for sure. Not so much streaming. It definitely wasn't ideal, I'm sure, in a lot of ways. Like, I know a lot of people had like told me when I'd like told them that like that was the name, were like trying to convince me to like not name it that because they're like, you're just gonna like create more barriers, you know, because like nobody can say it on the radio. Like certain things, like I know we got like you know, shit gets flagged all the time on like socials for certain things like that, like which fuck, like it happened sometimes, like specifically with the new EP. Like there's been times where like I literally just like share the Spotify link and like the shit gets taken down, or like, you know, like everything has to be like censored as like potentially like, you know, sensitive content because like of the words girl dick. And like, yeah, it definitely creates some barriers. But like I feel like for one, I think it's stupid. I think that language for a reason. And it was never meant to be in any sort of like pushing the envelope kind of way, which I feel like maybe some people interpret it as that sometimes, but it's just, like just like words that are in my vocabulary that I use a lot and that have like significant meaning. And like, yeah, I feel like also just like being who I am, it feels like important to be able to like use these words and use them in a way that feels like important and like powerful to me. But yeah, it definitely causes issues. Like that's for sure. Like, yeah, I mean, like they can't, like I know I like talked about it with like Jawn on XPN where like we couldn't say the EP on the radio. So we
Really?
just have to be like, oh, like UgLi's new. Yeah. I mean, you can't say girl dick on the radio, I guess, because of dick or whatever. So do like UgLi's like new upcoming EP. And like, I think that was the same thing with the album, like UgLi's new album. Cause it's like an, curse word or whatever, like stuff like that. And like, I assume that it also gets listed as like a, like an explicit kind of thing as well. And like, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, that's the whole point of art too, I feel like, is to kind of like re-examine these things and like why they like matter so much or don't matter so much, or, like seem to like create like ripples of tension.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's weird to me because, like, all right, I get you can't say fuck on the radio, but, but girl dick, like, regardless of meaning, just doesn't seem like anything that would have to be censored. That's just completely blows my mind that they can't say that on XPN.
Yeah, I don't know. I assume it's just like, I don't know. I'm sure it's like a probably blurred line. Like, I'm sure there's not been like many opportunities that's really even like crossed paths. But yeah, I know that anytime we like post about it, like shit potentially gets flagged. Like the album cover itself on the EP gets flagged a lot as like nudity, which is funny because it's not even nude. But yeah, it's definitely been like we could never run like ads on it or something. Like they would never, like we would never be able to do that. I know that for sure.
No, it's so bizarre how just the weird things that we try to hide and censor. It just doesn't make sense. So Fuck was was done at the Gradwell House and was the first time you worked with Dave. Is that right?
Yeah, that was the first time we worked with Dave. The first time we recorded anything professionally. First time, recording an album really like that too. It was a very, very long and fulfilling and very exhausting experience. But Dave's great. The Gradwell House is also great. That's actually like where our practice spot is too. So like that felt nice because like we literally practice in like the downstairs area and then, would like go upstairs and record. And it was just really cool to like have that as like an experience. I feel like I learned like a lot like over the course of like doing the album, especially that like carried into like recording the like newest EP. Like I felt like we took like a lot of knowledge from like the last time around, and we're able to use it in ways that like I don't think we really knew before.
Yeah, what do you think the like what were some of the kind of tips and tricks that you learned, like mostly time management stuff? Or
time management is definitely a thing. Like I feel like we played a lot more with tone this time around, which was cool, or just like getting like a little bit more experimental, where I feel like when we recorded the album it was a little bit more rushed. Just because like we just like wanted to get it done or whatever, and like just having the experience of like what how long things take, like like how like drums are like a significant portion of recording. They take up a lot of time because you have to like set them up and they have like 40 mics, and like being like prepped with your shit and like how like I don't know, like just like a lot of different stuff. And then Dave is also really good and has like a lot of his like his own inputs that I feel like he aided to like helping put together both records, which is really cool. And like Matt Wepper at the Gradwell House also was like a recording engineer. especially on this one, like for like pretty much all of the drums, and like just having other people in the room, like outside of the band, can be kind of helpful, because people just like add their own, you know, little things, or like, oh, like maybe we should try this or whatever. And it might be something that like we haven't thought about. And then it comes out really great.
Yeah. For the new EP, those songs you had been playing live prior to going into the studio. Did having those kind of live rehearsals help in the recording?
I think so, yeah. Like we started, I think the first time we played any of those songs live was literally like, I think it was December of 2021. It was the Johnny Brenda show that we played with Full Butch and Kelsey Cork and the Swigs. I think we played like 2 or 3 of the new ones for the first time ever, like at that show. And then we took pretty much all of them on us, because we finished recording the new EP right before we went on tour last summer. And I think we played like pretty much all of them at some point or another on the road as well. So yeah, like we'd already been like practicing it a lot, and we've been playing it live, and then we recorded it. And then we left and went on tour and like got to play like a bunch of those songs live, which was also cool, because I feel like, you know, we were like in new cities and like nothing was released yet. So I felt like it left people like a little bit extra, you know, to like go like be patient for when, you know, like things do come out. And then yeah.
Yeah, the like I said, I've been like nonstop ever since I got a early promo copy of the EP. It's been in the rotation. It just absolutely screams, and the guitars sound just so good on it, and your vocals are absolutely incredible. If you, I know it's hard. It's like a Sophie's choice of trying to pick one of your children. If you had to pick a favorite song on the album, what one do you enjoy performing the most?
Performing, or just like objectively?
Or I guess both.
I think performing, I think Spyro is like the most fun to play, because it's just like there's just a lot of energy and it's bouncy. But I would definitely say like my favorite song on the EP is Relic.
Yeah.
That was the one I really, really liked and I'm very proud of. I think it just has like a lot of like personal meaning to me, and I just like the general direction. I feel like I got to like play with my voice a lot more on the record this time than I did last time around, and was like trying to like experiment with just like little things here and there. And I feel like that song specifically, like I just played like a lot around, and like we have like it's like you don't really hear a lot of it. It's like very subtle, but there's like a Fender Rhodes like on that song in the beginning. You can hear in like the background behind the guitars, just like little like keynotes and stuff. And yeah, I think that's like my favorite song for sure.
Yeah. How is playing these songs live, or all of your songs in general? Because, you know, like you said, they are very personal. And, you know, I always had a problem. I always put like a persona on, and I always wrote most of my songs from the idea of a persona, so that no one got to get through this wall. But you put a lot out there. Is it a challenge to perform, or do you kind of get used to it?
I think you kind of just get used to it. I feel like I've been asked this question before. It's like one of those things that it's like, I feel like in the moment of playing, I kind of like lose the thought of it being vulnerable. And I kind of just like, it's definitely like a good exercise to get a lot of feelings out. And like sometimes I feel like it doesn't feel as intense. And then other times I think the songs hit a little bit harder, especially like some of the really more vulnerable personal songs. And I'll like legitimately kind of feel a lot of those feelings kind of resurface. But I feel like it also makes for like a good show, because then it feels like very much like authentic, and like where a lot of my shit is coming from. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like the way that I've always kind of wrote in that way. Like it always feels very personal and vulnerable, and coming from like a lot of like, I'm a very emotional person, I guess.
Yeah.
I have a lot of feeling.
See, I am too, and that's why I'm a coward and would never share it. I had one really personal song that I wrote and performed at an open mic one night, and had a not a panic attack, but a borderline breakdown, just performing it. And I was just like, yeah, it's just not for me. I'll just play these in my bedroom. Like, I can record them and I can play them for people. It's so weird, and have no kind of attachment. But like, once the words come out of my mouth, that's when the problem happens. Like, I'm just like, oh no, I'm saying it again. But like I said, I'm a bit of a coward. So,
Well, I think also I think less about the content and more about I feel like it's pretty vulnerable to play new songs just for like the first time or like the first couple times. But I feel like after that point, once you like play them a bunch, it becomes like more muscle memory than anything. And then I feel like it kind of like doesn't feel as scary, if that makes sense. Where like even like, like some of the really like deeper, like heavy stuff that I write, like we played it so many times now that I'm like, I kind of just like feel like I just like access that space for a minute, and then that's kind of like the end of it.
Yeah. Do you obviously, because you guys spend so much time together and create together and stuff like that, when you bring a song for the first time to the band, or you're working on a song for the first time, has there ever been any hesitation to on that first kind of walkthrough, or do they present like, do you have like and I'm going to gather that you do a nice safe space to kind of be able to explore that?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe like in the beginning of being in a band, it was like a little bit nerve-wracking. And I like try to make sure that like whenever I bring a song, that it's like I at least have it down enough to like really translate, so it doesn't feel like too like kind of like sloppy and shitty or whatever. But I don't think that anybody's ever made me feel like uncomfortable about any stuff like that. I think like at most, like I just like avoid eye contact, which is something that I kind of do in my day to day, and then also especially on stage. And I think that helps a lot, or like just like closing my eyes helps a lot. Because then I don't have to worry about, I think like that's the biggest thing. Like the songs themselves are one thing, but it definitely feels weird to be looking at somebody in their eyes and singing them. That feels like a whole other thing that can get like a little uncomfortable at times. But yeah, I feel like I feel pretty safe when I bring new stuff to the table. And I mean, the band obviously like has stuck around this long, so I assume that they like what I write. I hope, at least.
That's awesome. No, I'm sure they do. I mean, you write phenomenal stuff, so it's hard to you don't have to worry about them not liking it. Like, this is really good stuff. And I'm not just saying that because we're talking. Like I said, though, this EP is just incredible. What is the reaction been like to it? Have you been getting good feedback since it's been out? What, 2 weeks now? A week and a half, something like that?
Yeah, I think it's been like two-ish weeks. It seems like people like it. It's always hard to tell, and like, I don't know. Music is so strange in that way, at least to me sometimes, but I feel like the reception has gone really well. Like, I feel like at least like my friends and stuff seem to really like it. We got like today we got a write-up in the Chicago Reader, which is like really cool. Like somebody like did like an album review on their like edition for whatever edition today was, and there's a lot of like really nice words in that, and like the other write-ups that we've gotten have seemed to have like really nice words. And then we had the release show at Repo, and that was a lot of fun, and like it seemed like everybody had a really good time. So I would say it seems like the reception has been overly positive, at least. I think so. I don't know. I hope people like it, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Are you guys touring this summer, or?
I don't know if we're gonna tour this summer, but we're definitely gonna be touring soon. It might just be like closer to the fall.
Okay.
I think like, we have like a lot of things to gather, and um it is a very extensive process to tour, especially being like a DIY unsigned band with four people. That like, I mean, like we don't really make money through music either, and like we don't have any management or anything like that. So it becomes like a very big ball of stress to really put together. But yeah, like definitely touring again soon. It's definitely on the docket. I like touring. I think it's a lot of fun. I wish I could do it more, to be honest.
Yeah, it's awesome to be able to like go into it's like a fighting in a foreign land. It's like go into and it's like, all right, hopefully we show up here and we make some new friends. Like that's how I always used to feel when I used to go out and jump in the van and just kind of explore, musically explore.
Yeah, I mean, you get to like see, like when we toured last summer, I went to like a bunch of cities I'd literally never been in my entire life. Like I think like pretty much all of us had like been places we'd never been. And like you meet bands that you like may otherwise never meet. You definitely meet people that you're like, I might literally never see you again in my life. And like this is just like this like shared like special moment that we have like a night together to like, like just be in like the same space for whatever reason. And I think one of my favorite things about touring too is I feel like it's the most like clear and honest reaction to people absorbing your music, where like I feel like playing at home like is great, and like like I love playing here, and I love being here, and I love my friends and like all the people that I know. But like, like sometimes like people are gonna just either like tell you that you did good for whatever reason, or like um not even so much that, but like I feel like there's just like, it's like home or whatever. But then you're in like a state like 1,500 miles away from your house. You don't know a single person there, and like there's three other bands on top of that. So like nobody has to stick around to watch you. Nobody has any sort of social obligation to say anything to you, let alone like come up to the merch table or like, really do anything. And I feel like those were the times that really meant like a lot to me, where I'd be like, playing in like, I don't know, like wherever, like somewhere, some random place in the Midwest. And like somebody comes up to me after the show and they're like, like buys a record and they're like, I really like your stuff. Like your show was so good. And like, I love your band and your music or whatever. Like that was like the craziest thing to me. Cause I'm like, damn, like you literally mean that. Cause like, why else? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it feels really special and like, meaningful. It's a really nice feeling.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. Well, at this time, do you want to go through the jauntlet? These are my stock questions that I ask every guest that comes through these parts. It starts with the one-hit wonders, and the first one, Billy Joel or Elton John? Who do you prefer?
Elton John.
Yeah. Billy
Yeah.
Joel, I think, is in town tomorrow night or something like that, playing the Lincoln Financial Field. And that just blows my mind, like a guy and a piano and a football stadium. Like,
Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
it's wild. The next one, Debbie Harry or Joan Jett?
Debbie Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aretha Franklin or the recently departed Tina Turner?
Tina Turner.
She was just so fierce, like just so incredibly fierce. The next one, Nirvana or Pearl Jam?
Nirvana.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. The sensibility wise, I kind of figured that. Janis Joplin or Stevie Nicks?
Stevie Nicks.
Okay. Also playing with Billy Joel at the football stadium. Still weird. Very weird. Beatles or the Stones?
Neither.
Okay. All right. I accept it. Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. The next section here is the top 10 countdown. As we said before, Jawn can be whatever you want it to be. Number one, what was your first Jawn when you were a kid? What was the first thing you remember being obsessed with?
Cheese fries.
Yeah. Are you still cheese fry obsessed?
Absolutely. Like to no end. I love cheese fries. It's like one of my favorite things.
Okay, so there's this pizza place in North Wales, Pennsylvania. It's a suburb of Philadelphia, and it's called Tony's Pizza Palace. And they have these loaded cheese fries, and they are without a doubt the best cheese fries I've ever eaten in my life. So if you ever find yourself in the Philly suburbs around North Wales, definitely check that out.
Okay, good to know.
Number two, what's your current Jawn? What are you into right now?
Naps.
Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of the nap system. Like, I really think that we should integrate more naps into adult life, specifically because I don't sleep enough. So I love the afternoon nap, and sometimes that nap becomes sleep. But whatever. Number three, what was your first concert? What was the first live show you ever saw?
I think it was Warped Tour in like 2007, maybe.
Who was headlining?
Sure. I couldn't even tell you. I was there in a skateboard contest, which is how they went. And then I was just at Warped Tour, and I remember like bouncing around. I know there was definitely like a bunch of like big name bands that played that year. I just don't remember. I was like probably like 12 years old and literally hopped up on like unregulated energy drinks with a skateboard. So
that's incredible. It's really interesting that you say that, because I was going to say this earlier and it completely slipped my mind. But listening to the EP, one of the main thoughts I had was when I first heard it was, God, I gotta put this on headphones and go out skating. Like it feels like a skate record to me.
That's fun. I like that. I hope people skate to my record.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely beautiful. Number four, what was your last concert?
What was the last concert? I think it was a show at Ortlieb's. I think it was called Lavender Menace Fest. It was just like a bunch of like, it was like a pride, like queer fronted band thing that like a couple of my friends' bands were playing. I think that was the last show I went to, if I recall. It was like a week or two ago.
Okay. You guys are playing Ortlieb's, right? The 15th or something like that coming up in July?
Yeah. We're playing, July 15th.
Excellent. See how I segue that in there perfectly? It's years of podcasting will get that to you. Number five, what was your favorite concert? What was the best show you ever been to?
God, that's so hard. I feel like it changes all the time. Most is my answer. I would say like not all, because I've definitely been to some concerts that have sucked, but I would say most concerts are my favorite. Feels like way too hard to pick.
That's awesome. No, it's a beautiful answer. I love it. Number six, who have you never seen live that you wish you would have? They can be living or dead.
I don't know. That's a good question. Like there are like, I really want to see Wednesday, but I'm literally seeing them on Saturday. So I feel like that it feels like a weird answer because like I'm going to see them anyway.
It counts for 2 days.
Yeah. Who's dead? That would be cool to see. I liked Soundgarden when I was a kid. I think it would have been cool to see Soundgarden when Chris Cornell was alive, I guess.
Great answer. I love Soundgarden, and I think I might have said this on the show before, but people didn't hear it. But when they did, or Chris Cornell, right before he passed away, they did a Temple of the Dog reunion tour. And I was going to go, and something else came up, and I was like, I'll catch Cornell the next time he comes through. And then he passed away. And so I never got to see him live, and I kick myself daily for that.
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah. Like, and I can't tell you how many times that's happened where I'm just like, I'll get them the next time. And then, so you should always act on those impulses when you have them. Number 7, name an unappreciated Jawn. Name something, anything you wish more people knew about.
Unappreciated Jawn. Me.
I'll take it. I'll take it. And I agree. And I feel like, and I hope, and again, this is more that knock on wood stuff, that this EP changes that, because people should 100% pay attention to you.
Thanks.
Number 8, what's your favorite album? And I know it's a tough one, but
I can't even answer that. I would feel dirty picking one.
Even that response is a good response. I'll take it. Number 9, name an artist whose output you'll consume anything they release.
Wednesday, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely in like my top favorites.
I dig it. I dig it. The 10th and final of the top 10 countdown. What is your favorite Jawn of all time? Again, can be anything you want it to be.
Sex.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good answer.
Yeah. Gay sex.
Right on. Right
Queer,
on.
Trans sex. That's my
I love
answer.
it. I love it. Beautiful answer. So, are you guys working on new material? I know this just came out, but or do you have a follow up stuff already in on it?
Yeah, we have a bunch of new songs. We played, I think, like 2 new songs at the release show, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, definitely I'm trying to like lay that down soon also, and get some more stuff out.
Yeah. Or are you going to keep with the EP format, or are you going to do another album?
I guess time will tell.
Good answer. Good answer. So other than the show at Ortlieb's on the 15th, do you have shows lined up for the summer? I know not a tour,
Yeah.
but
We're playing a show next week at Kung Fu with this band we played with on tour in Atlanta, called Flummox. Also on the 15th, it hasn't been announced yet specifically, but we're supposed to play this thing at the William Way Center. They do like a trans celebratory like block party thing through the Arkilla Adams like Transway Center. And I think we're supposed to play that also on the 15th, like during the day. I think we might have a show in Pittsburgh that following day. I don't remember if it's like fully confirmed or not. And then I think we have a couple shows in New York like those following weeks. And I think we have another Brenda's show in August. There's like a bunch. It's hard to remember off the top of the head, but I know we definitely have like a bunch of shows lined up. And then, yeah, like whenever a tour comes around, there'll be a lot more.
It's so cool. If any of these cool cats and kittens who listen to the show would like to find you guys on the socials, what's the best way to track you down?
My band is UgLi across literally everything: Instagram, Twitter, the email, TikTok that we don't use, Venmo. If you want to send some money my way, that would be cool. But yeah, with an I, UgLi, like the fruit.
TikTok, something I just can't crack. I have an account, and there's one tick talking up there, and that's it. Because I think I might be too old. I think I may have just finally aged out of a social platform, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I just like I do a lot of the behind the scenes work for the band, like aside from like being the songwriter and the front person and like the general contact point. I also like run all the social media. I'm like the person who like coordinates like emails and like basically everything. And I think just like social media is like really exhausting as is. So like we have it, and like I just like have not found time to really dedicate to that, because like there's like too many to keep up with all the time, and I'm just tired, truthfully.
Sure.
Maybe like if we have a label, I'll probably play with my phone more. I don't know. We'll see.
With the listing thing we were talking about earlier, is there any issues getting songs listed on like on TikTok or on Instagram for Reels with the album titles "fuck" and "girl dick"? Or is there no?
I don't think so. I think the main thing has been the title itself, but like there's no songs that are called "girl dick," so I think that's okay. Yeah. And then the artwork. The artwork gets flagged a lot for like, I don't know, nudity reasons or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't even really checked, but I think it's okay as far as like the music stuff.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, Dylyn, thank you so much for doing this, and thank you so much for creating such just phenomenal art. I appreciate it so much, and thanks for coming on my dumb little show.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. It was very nice to be here. I hope I did an okay job.
My thanks again to Dylyn for joining me on the show today. UgLi's new EP, Girl Dick, is available wherever you get your music from or can be found on their Bandcamp page at mybandisugly.bandcamp.com. You can follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mybandisugly. And you can catch them live opening for Waxjaw on Saturday, July 15th at Ortlieb's at 8 p.m. Links to all of those are in the show notes. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. And gang, it's not too late to get yourself a super awesome Jawn Scout Merit Badge for Citizenship of the World just by rating and reviewing us. Don't forget to visit www.yothat'smyjawn.com for articles, merchandise, and links to all of the previous episodes of this podcast. And hey, while you're there, be sure to sign up for our mailing list to get all of the updates delivered straight into your inbox. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YoThat'sMyJawn for updates and live streams. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Yo That's My Jawn, and search Yo That's My Jawn on YouTube to find the Yo That's My Jawn YouTube channel. Like and subscribe the heck out of that ish. We want to hear from you. Reach out, and touch some Jawn. Oh, yeah. Another episode in the books. Blue skies. Until next time, everybody.
Hey yo, displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure. Your taste in music doesn't have to be
Yo, That's My Jawn is a Lonely Monk production written and produced by yours truly, Nate Runkle. Theme song by Phil Tyler Music featuring Nate 3.0. Special thanks to Fox Run Brands, DX Ferris, Andrew Scott, Natalie Runkle, and the incredibly brilliant and wickedly stunning Katie Daubney. If you or anyone you know has any ideas they would like to share or any guests they would like to hear on the podcast, please feel free to reach out to us at yothat'smyjawn@gmail.com. Or you can leave an audio message for us and possibly hear yourself on a future episode by visiting anchor.fm/ytmj/message. Until next time, be sure to displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure and shout to the world, Yo, that's my Jawn.